kind of stinks that the wild card has been wrapped up. We had so much fun with the day baseball going on. The Snakes, they got by as big dogs, and Torey Lovullo, however you say it, the manager, he's been there for a while. He is loved by the media. Now, I don't know what his relationship was. I've heard he's beloved within the locker room and within the dugout there, obviously. I think you have a little audio after the Snakes advanced last night of Lovullo kind of going nuts with his team. Gives you an idea as to why the players love him as well.
Yeah, I mean, they were fired up after beating Milwaukee. I think they were a team that wanted to prove that what happened later in the year when they dipped down after a hot start, that they were the team from earlier in the season. They move on past the Brewers. Here's what the locker room was like after the win.
All right. Are you kidding me? No! Listen, this is part of the journey. We're not there yet. Let's enjoy it. Let's embrace it. Let's party. And a connected team is a dangerous team. We are dangerous. Let's party all.
We are effing dangerous needs to be on a t-shirt. I love it.
You kind of see he came across as a donkey. He came across like Will Ferrell in Old School, didn't he?
Stop. That was great. It was great.
Was it? Let's get hammered. Yeah, I mean, look, Diamondbacks right now, they're plus 195 against the Dodgers. That's series price, guys. 225 on the Dodgers if you want to lay it. Obviously, rightful favorites, but the Diamondbacks were big dogs in the previous series as well.
They were, but I think this matchup is so favorable for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The one good thing, if you are this Arizona team, you're familiar with the opponent very, very much. You played them throughout the regular season. And to me, you got a great opportunity to turn things around here. But, by the way, quick question. In the NBA and the NHL, they don't celebrate advancing by a round. What's within baseball winning 2 games and you celebrate like you won the series?
I think it's because it's such an arduous 162.
That's fair.
You play so many games, and it's just such a slog and such a grind that once you get in, it's kind of a crapshoot in the postseason. And I think if you advance, they go nuts. I get what you're saying, though.
I thought Pat Beverly was going to show up for that celebration.
But like
anything on this series, big guy?
Yeah, look, the Dodgers are clearly the better team, the better lineup. But remember, their bullpen wasn't great during the season. And when it comes to the postseason, pitching is just so vital. Arizona is going to throw out the 2 best pitchers in this series. Like Clayton Kershaw, for as good as he was during the year, there's always health concerns. He's always limited, and he's had some issues in the playoffs. I think Arizona has a fighting chance here at plus $1.70 just because they're going to throw Kelly, who didn't have to pitch in this last series, and then they're going to get Gallen again.
This is a Dodger team, obviously carried by Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy had 30-plus bombs. JD Martinez had a great year for the Dodgers. Kershaw and Lynn will be limited. They do have good middle relief. Again, the Dodgers won 100 games again. It's incredible what they did in that division. They're rightfully $2 favorites. The Diamondbacks, though, they're fun. Dustin Amal, we talked about it yesterday. It's just a fun team to watch. Like you said, like with Lovullo there, you can see the vibe. They love to run. They make contact. They're not going to make a ton of errors. It's a team that manufactures. It's a scary team to face if you're a Dodger team that's going to be heavily favored.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This year, look, the Diamondbacks were 5-8 against the Dodgers during the regular season. So not too bad when you look at the talent comparison. This Diamondbacks team is young. They've got 2 frontline pitchers, and you can make the argument today based on the way the Dodgers are constructed with the injuries and other things. No Walker Buehler in this team. Julio Urias out. I think you can make the argument the starting pitcher for the pitching for the Diamondbacks in this series is better than what the Dodgers have. At the same time, though, I would say the Dodgers playing in a hitter-friendly park like Chase Field only benefits them. Patrick just mentioned it. We don't even talk enough about Max Muncy's bombs and then the season that JD Martinez had. JD Martinez was a forgotten guy after the Red Sox won the World Series and how impactful he's been with the Dodgers this year. I think this team is very, very dangerous. The one thing I'd like to see the Snakes do at the end of this year, I'd like to see them go get a big-time free agent. I know, Patrick, you may not be a fan of the desert, but I think the Valley is a great place. You get great fan support. I know the Diamondbacks don't get a ton of it, but if the team wins, people show up. People always complain about fair weather fans. I always give the argument, you don't go to see movies that you already know are bad.
The Braves, $1.80. My assumption is I just know Dustin. I think he probably likes the Phillies at a price plus 160. You know what's interesting about the Phillies? And we had the stat with Scott Spreitzer yesterday talking about teams that hit bombs. Well, that's the Phillies because the first 4 months of the year, they didn't hit any. And then over the final 2 months, they tied with the Braves for most home runs hit. So that power stroke coming alive like it did last year for the Phillies. Interesting series. The Braves are rightfully big-time favorites and easily the best team in baseball. They're freaking loaded.
Yeah, I think for the Braves, getting Max Fried back is so vital for them, dealing with a blister later in the season. But the Phillies got a chance here. So many times in baseball, we'll see a team that is just so dominant in the regular season. And the postseason, it's a different story. It's a shortened series. You're going to get Wheeler. You're going to get Nola, who's pitching for a contract. Things are going to be a little bit different. And if you want to mash, the Phillies lineup wants to mash with you. Now, they don't have the depth the Braves do. The Braves, this is one of the best lineups we've seen in probably the last 20 years. Top to bottom, 1 to 9. They can all take you deep at any point in the game. That's the thing about the Braves. If one guy's not going, another guy could pick up the slack. I want to back the Phillies here. I'm not going to be betting them on a series price, but I do think they have a shot to beat Atlanta.
Guys, to me, when you look at this series, there's only one play, and I know you guys probably disagree with this. I think it's the Phillies or no play. I don't want to lay 165 with the Braves. You just referenced it, Dustin. The pitching right now with Wheeler and Aaron Nola, when you stack the starting pitchers 1 through whatever you want to put for both teams combined, in my opinion, the best pitcher in this series is Zach Wheeler.
100%.
Right. Spencer Strider had a very good season. ERA just under 4, won 20 games, had 287 strikeouts. But, guys, Wheeler's got the experience. And Zach Wheeler, the one thing that's been known about him throughout his entire career, when he is on his A game, he is as good as anybody, whether it be Jacob deGrom, Justin Verlander, whomever it may be. This guy is very capable. Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, I love me some Trey Turner. And one other thing, if you're the Atlanta Braves, you mentioned it, Dustin's right, Patrick. The offensive lineup is fantastic. I kind of harken back to the 93 Blue Jays where they were just an absolute machine. They won a World Series. This team offensively reminds me of that. On the flip side, though, I would argue, if you can stymie their bats in innings 1, 2, and 3, I think you've got a great shot. They just put teams away early in baseball games. If you can prevent that from happening, I think the later the game goes and the closer it is within 1 run, it favors Philadelphia. Just from a pressure standpoint, this team has been there. And I know Atlanta's been there and done it as well, but I think the pressure is on the Braves. They have the best record in baseball since maybe late June. We've been saying without a World Series ring this year, the season's probably a failure.
Dustin, you talk about Atlanta's rotation coming together. Could you argue the one advantage to give the Phillies is the bullpen with Kimbrel and Soto and Alvarado and Hoffman and Strahm and Dominguez? Like, they've got a lot of arms. And oftentimes these series come down to middle relief as well.
And they're battle tested, having done this a year ago, surprising everyone and going to the World Series. And a quick note on Zach Wheeler I want to bring up. The top 4 whips in MLB postseason history. Sandy Koufax is at 4. Kenley Jansen is at 3. Mariano Rivera is at 2. Zach Wheeler has the lowest postseason whip in MLB history, .732.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.